Well, it's summertime, but it's still a busy time for head coach Nick Hill at Saluki football. Fall camp almost about a month away from the report date, Coach Hill, but still a lot of good days that your team is having this summer.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the summertime, just such valuable time for your team. Just getting everybody here, you finally have your complete roster, spring ball, and there's still, adding transfers, the freshman class. So now that we have all of our freshmen here and the springtime transfers is an opportunity just to obviously build on the things that the guys that were here on the spring, but just from the culture standpoint, the work, obviously the non-negotiables of getting into shape and getting stronger in the weight room and having a great 8 weeks in there, but just building your team. You're here. There's not a lot going on, on campus, so you spend the majority of your day with your teammates. And so the most connected team, I still believe in this day and age of, a lot of new players and people coming and going is like – we have to be a connected team. And so you have to spend just as much time on that. And the summer is just a great time to do that. So we won't rush getting here for training camp. Obviously, we're excited for that time. But, these next 5 weeks are super important for the success of our team.
How has this time evolved with you as a coach, not in terms of what you do now, but in terms of what you're allowed to do?
Yeah, it's changed over the years. Obviously, in 10 years, there's been rule changes, and you're able to do a little bit more than it was when I first started. As far as still now being able to get out on the field for a couple hours with them, some hands-on. We've always, in my 10 years, tried to take advantage of, the meetings and lesson plans and the voluntary things. So, they're here, and they're here. It's our job to help them get better in all facets of their life. But they're here to be a good football player, and that takes time. And so they've got to get up here. Your leaders have to emerge. I think encouraging some of that stuff too is a great time in the summertime for DJ you want to have a throwing session, you've got to call them, you've got to get them together, you have to do this, you want extra meetings with the young QBs and yourself. And so we have to facilitate that and teach them how that's supposed to look, and then they've got to do that.
Kind of a cliche thing to say, but there's always people talk about it. You either like something, you love it, or you live it. When you think of your leadership on the team, which no doubt is continuing to be developed, do you like your leadership in terms of being in that camp of they love it, everything about it, they embrace it?
Yeah, no, I think like you said, I mean that's always evolving. The summertime, there's not a lot of adversity, and so you're going to find out about your leadership in times of adversity. So the season is full of that. But we have a lot of time on task together as far as like knowing the individuals. I do. I mean, I enjoy this team and the makeup of it, the people that are on it. That doesn't win you any games. We still got to do the football part well. But I mean, it starts your quarterback. If he loves it and shows that every day, then people will see that, and we have that in DJ. I mean, I think DJ sets the tone of his passion and love for wanting to be the best, and that's infectious, So when you have that and a guy that's returning and our starter, I feel like he's can be the best player in the country. He's going to have to go out there and do that, and that's not anything that we haven't talked about. But as far as his skill set and talent goes, but then we get to see all the internal stuff, what he's made of, and his work ethic, and just how people really gravitate towards him, his passion for serving. And so that sets the tone. And then obviously you have a lot of players back that have been here and that have kind of have the attitude, and I've challenged them. This is just, we're not going to talk about anything. It just needs to be by your actions. Like what fruit are you putting off every day? You don't have to tell somebody about that, but your actions will show that in your Derek Hardens and Finskys and A.J. Quinns and Schwindeman. So we have a ton of them. And then the defensive side, obviously, with the linebacker crew of Bohannick and Shug and Presto and all of those guys that have played a lot. And then, CJ on the back end has been here. And so a lot of guys that have played in the Reeves brothers. So there's a core group of guys that understand and know why they're back here. And then it's their job to make sure that it's everybody that comes together.
The great appreciation I have for you is you're an extremely straight shooter. You are someone, when you give a compliment, it's not just to give it. It's not just whatever, blowing smoke. So when you say the words, I believe that DJ Williams can be the best player in the country, that's a very loud statement from you. What leads you, and a lot of it is the leadership things you were adding into your reasoning for him, but you've seen a lot of players throughout the years. There's a reason why you feel that way. What are you most excited about for him in terms of being able to play at that type of a level?
Yeah, just obviously, I mean, in this day and age, for me as an offensive coach and now back end of like coaching the quarterbacks, it's been fun. Obviously, when you have someone like DJ, but in this day and age of offensive football, when you study the elite guys or the people in college that getting drafted at a high level, he really has those attributes of how you would want to build a quarterback in 2025. I mean, he's big, he's strong, you're not going to find someone at his size that maybe is more athletic than him. So I mean, when you weigh 225 pounds and you can run away from people, and you can also, break tackles. And he's strong so he can make all those plays outside of the pocket. You can design things for him. He has elite arm strength. We're just, continue to work on accuracy and all those things that everybody is striving to get better. But the best thing about him is like just willingness to grow, get better, wants to be coached, wants to be challenged, sets the standard. And so when you have that, sometimes you might have one or the other, but when you can put both of those together, I just mean like his skill set in FCS football, there's a lot of great players out there, but going into this, I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the country.
The leadership piece is something that you always see, and you see it every day, from the weight room to the summer workouts to the field. But there's also another way where if a guy is extremely valuable, you get a lot of phone calls about that individual in the off season. What's it say about DJ? That he had opportunities potentially to leave here, but he really is committed to not just yourself, but he has really embraced being a leader and being a vocal point on your football team.
Yeah, it's just the world that we live in right now. So if you're a good player, you're going to get phone calls and just his maturity about the whole thing. That's another thing that leads me to be able to make a statement. He's super mature. He's focused on what he wants to accomplish long term, and he feels that being a Saluki in 2025 will allow him to do that. And you got to live in the now. I tell a lot of stress on these young student athletes right now is thinking about things that are in the future. You can't control that. You don't know what's going to happen. I've always believed as if you're where your feet are and you're an unbelievable player, whether that's going to the next level in the NFL or if that is getting paid in the transfer portal at one time or whatever. But I know for a fact you're not going to be able to do that unless where you're at right now you accomplish and you live every day, what that is supposed to look like. And DJ has done that. And I think DJ knows that, only being able to play in 3 games last year, not necessarily unfinished business or anything like that. But I think that DJ collectively, and he knows, like, it's about winning. It's about winning and leaving a legacy and all those things. When you talk about a quarterback, I'm sure there's quarterbacks out there that, all over the country get in the transfer portal, find a home, maybe get paid some money, and then you're just not in a great situation. When you're a quarterback, you want to be in a great situation where you can go and perform and you can win, and the rest will take care of itself. And I think we're aligned on that for DJ in 2025 is here.
Vincent Davis is back, and he no doubt has been a reliable contributor for you and your program. Every coach is different in terms of how they handle the portal. Guys who go in, ultimately, do they ever come back? How did you handle that situation with VD, and what about him allows him to come back to the program?
Yeah, I think, it would be silly for someone to just say that this is how we always handle one situation. Everybody's situation is different. There's no one. Everybody in the building knows how much I care about VD, what he's meant to me as a person, his relationship, great young man. I think first and foremost, as a head coach, you have to be thinking about, you know, what their life after football, during football. VD needs his degree, and like a lot of people in the country, after the season, the transfer portal, they see different people, and everybody has their own situation in that. And there's never been anybody that leaves here. Everybody has to make their decision. They have to be a grown man. They have to make decisions, just like the rest of the people. A lot of the people that comment on different things, on social media or in their mind, is like when you were 21, 22 years old. And there's pressure to do this, and there's things. And so he went in the transfer portal. He wasn't anywhere in the spring. Really, his best avenue to get a degree is here at SIU, and I want him to get that. I want him to be successful the rest of his life. Obviously, he's a good player and can help us out. And he's a guy that I know that honestly, I went to the leadership council and let them make the decision, because I know how I personally feel about VD. I would want him back on the team, but not if the team didn't want him. And they voted to bring him back. And I knew that we were going to get the best version of VD when he came back. It's a humbling experience to go through that. He has a passion for the game. He loves football. You've seen that since he's been back. And sometimes getting something not taken away, but he wasn't anywhere in spring ball or anything. You're working a job. You're trying to make it. You've been told you can't, the transfer portal didn't work out. So now we have a VD that's back, and it's just like, man, I'm appreciative of just everything that this game provides, knowing that this is my last year. He's been great having back.
One position group I'm sure our fans at times, Luke, you guys always talk about them, and there's a reason. Your linebacker room has always had great depth here. And running into Colin Bohannic the other day, he looks like he's in some of the best shape he's been since he's been here. I know he had a rough year just in terms of the injuries and not being healthy to be able to play. What have you seen from Colin during this time to come back? And it seems to get his body in a shape that he looks better than he did a year ago.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Colin is a fantastic player. He's proven that here in 2023. And then just his leadership, his maturity. I feel like, just having a mature football team of what it looks like to be a pro and go about your business. I think he's fun to have around. He's obviously connected really well with Coach Mack and what it takes. And so, it's excited to have Colin back. I believe that, like, with our linebackers, it's a deep room, spread out with older guys, with Bohannic and Shug going into their last year. But just even the maturity, both those guys are going to get their MBA from here. They just have a set core values of just it's about work. They're obviously really good football players and tough. That bleeds through everything. Chris Presto is a returning starter who I think the future is super bright for. Just the really similar to Branson Combs in that makeup. So built different than those other two, can do a little bit, different things. And then, Beamer, Andrew Boehm is we haven't seen. We got to see him play for one game, South Dakota State. We brought him in here as a transfer, and then just his foot all season, he wasn't able to do anything. But I think in our building, if you would ask, like, who had the best off-season, winter conditioning, spring ball, like just a captain, the leadership council wanted him to be on the leadership council. And so we haven't seen him play really a full season, or Saluki fans don't have any idea. So already a deep room, a guy that no one's talking about will be right there to be a starter on our football team.
You've had a lot of time within the spring, now in the summer, when you guys converge as a staff and get together. What's a part of this team, and I know this may be a difficult question to answer here in the month of June, and not that you want to signal out one group more than the other, but what's a group that maybe no one like me or others are talking about that you're like, just wait, like, I can't wait for you guys to see what the work this group has put
Right.
in terms of improvement.
Yeah. No, I think obviously some of those are, and I'm excited to see them go out there and do that. Is safety. Guys that haven't been full-time starters yet, corners, and watching the guys that progress. Jay Black and Bash and the young corners, like those are the things that I'm excited about, as guys that we recruited out of high school that redshirted last year. Feel like we have a few good young corners, and the transfer Nas that we have back in. Obviously receiver, who's gonna fill in and catch these balls. Obviously VD is back, but those guys have a lot to prove. But I'm not going to bed losing sleep. Like I like the receiver group that we have. And then I think obviously tight end is what fans know about AJ and Schwindy, but I'm really excited for Schwindy's opportunity. You see some of these things, top 25 FCS tight ends, and no one really knows that we have Ryan Schwindeman. And we felt like that was going to be his year last year, and coming off a couple games with touchdowns, and then boom, his season's cut in game 4. And we don't have him all year, and we feel like in the Missouri Valley he can be an elite level tight end. And so I'm excited about Ryan Schwindeman and those guys being able to the rest, because our team knows that. I mean, a guy that you can move around, played wide receiver some in the spring, is kind of the package of a tight end that you want, has the right mindset. And so I'm excited about those guys.
Running the football is always a key for you guys offensively, and DJ is a huge piece of that. Where do you see the running back room coming into this summer and ultimately into the fall to where they can help carry that load as well?
Yeah, no, I think that's another position of it's got to be highly competitive in training camp. I like that the way they're working, the new guys that we've brought in. And so, we have to run the football better. That's collectively. Obviously, DJ was our leading rusher for the majority of the season. Yeah. He only played in 2.5 games. And so getting DJ back and being able to do those type of things in our offense will allow those other guys to have better space and ideal boxes to be able to run in. And so, to control a football game, you have to be able to run it, and however that gets done from whatever position. But I feel good about where we're at running back.
And finally, Coach, before we let you go, our fans, as we said, you guys are busy right now this summer. Give them a little bit of what your schedule's like here the rest of June and then July. And, of course, the guys will report there at like July 28th, 29th, around there, July 30th?
Yeah, no, so – yeah, a lot of people, around the town, or even the girls got always something going. It's like, what do you do in the summertime? And it's like, you try to explain, and hey, you get a couple hours with them a week. So it's like, oh, you only work a couple hours of the week. But, it's just we have 105 guys on the team, and we have 26 new freshmen that just moved here. They've been here for 10 days. So their schedule's full throughout the day. Obviously taking summer school. The majority of our guys are in a summer class. There's workouts every single day with Meade's staff, whether it's, conditioning and obviously the weight room, and then 2 days a week us having our OTAs practices. So we're in here early in the morning. It is a good time, like this coming week is a time that the coaches get to go on vacation, give them all from like June 25th. Through after 4th of July. So it'll be a good time to be able to, take the girls on a little vacation. And then once you get back in July, and then obviously we've been recruiting with camps, so the first 3 weeks in June are heavy with camps. We have another prospect camp coming up this Friday. We had one last week. We had our quarterback camp last week. Coaches are on the road going to mega camps all over the country. And so it's a busy time. Once you get back in July, you really have to be you really get zeroed in on the season. So that's us making sure, putting together a training camp schedule, and that's my job as a head coach, is making sure that the schedule gives us an opportunity to be the best team. So that takes time. It takes a month or so of making sure, for training camp, the schedules, when we're practicing, what do our installs look like what periods do we want for team and red zone and third downs, and making sure then we go map out exactly what we have to do in those 25 practices to maximize us having the best team when we go out there for game one. So it's really collectively all of our staff being organized to, once that training camp starts, we're here until every day, no days off until, after the season. And so it's just making sure that we're organized and ready to go to teach these guys.
And you want to be busy and occupied all the way through January.
That's right. Yeah. So it's a good stretch. So it's really,
yes.
The summertime is a good time though. Obviously, even like last night, Deaconess fed the team, and then they're at the Thrillbillies game. And so those type of things, a lot of coming over to coaches' houses and dinners and getting that. And so in the evening time, a relaxed setting to be around your guys, because, when that report day comes, it's go time.
Now, I don't know wherever you were if you could feel my angst as well, but at the Thrillbillies game, heard him say, hey, it's time to do blindfolded dodgeball. And they said one of our participants is quarterback DJ Williams. I said, I hope he's the one that's not blindfolded.
Yeah, that's right. I know. Somebody told me that. I was at the dinner, and the girls had a swim meet last night, so I went to the swim meet, and then Lindauer told me that DJ was out there playing blindfolded dodgeball. But that's DJ. I think
Absolutely.
The other thing is and I'm going to go up and help him at his youth camp this Saturday. I think that's another thing that just – really makes DJ who he is hosting a camp in honor of one of his late teammates. And so just to organize all that, they've got 130 kids signed up, there's several of our players going up to help him. I've got to golf in the IBW golf scramble, but then I'm going to take off, go to Chicago just to be there to support him. I did that whenever I was in college and at DuQuoin, put on a free camp. And just all the things that go into that. So just to be there, watch him be able to be in the forefront of that, and just be there to help in any way that I can. But to organize all that, just to have the mindset like, hey, let's start this, let's do this, let's give back to the community. I think that's all encompassing, especially from that guy. You love to see that.
And your team does such a great job getting out into the community, and that's what I hope for our fans, that one, they can come see you guys play, obviously, against Thomas More. But there's so many opportunities where they can be around your guys, get to know them, because we've talked a lot about DJ, but I think DJ is one of many on your team that just our fans would love to be around them and just totally be embraced by.
Without a doubt. And that's what, our team would tell you that is from our team meetings. It's, one of our, core values, or whatever you want to call it, is – better people make better Salukis. And it's really about, and setting that tone with the freshmen. You'll have zero, but you will enjoy, there's going to be ups and downs along the way of your college career. But if you treat people the right way, you use your platform here. We had just a great example. Yesterday, we went over to the rec center. Misty Wright puts on a boxing class for people in Southern Illinois with Parkinson's. It's been going on at the rec for like 7 years. There's a couple people from DuQuoin that are in that class, and some people that I know, and they were like, hey, it would be cool if we get the team over here to do the boxing with the people. It'll bring a lot of good energy to them. And so we had like 15 guys yesterday at 10:30. Me and Coach Warner and Chris Gillespie were over there doing it. And the messages that are flooding in of just like, man, that was the best class in 7 years. The energy they brought, watching them for 1 hour, they just got done with working out, but like giving back. And then so them giving them the platform to go out there, like I always talk about like something small in somebody's life that you're going to forget about in 2 or 3 days, might be the biggest thing to them all year. And you have the ability to affect somebody's life like that. It might not mean that much to you, or like, yeah, that's just, I did that. But what it does to that kid or that person, it could just be like, there's so many good young men on our team, like just your presence, seeing them at Walmart, you spoke to a kid, you went up to him at the restaurant or whatever, that kid's thinking about that for the rest of his life, And so making sure that we're instilling that in these guys, I think, it goes beyond the field.
Coach, really appreciate the time. I know our fans do as well, and We never wish time away, brother, but I am excited
Yeah,
as we
I am
get
too.
to late July.
I am too. I'm excited. I'm excited for this season to get here.